Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, I bet you're all sick of Star Wars references. I'm glad that May the 4th has passed, and no sooner was it gone than I hope everybody found some way to celebrate Cinco de Mayo Day. Now, how cool is that? Pick an arbitrary day in the year and make it a holiday. Would that it was that simple. But of course, that is what the first day of the 7th month was, a date picked with no actual meaning at the time it was picked. Here, however, an event did take place. It commemorated the Mexican army's victory over the French at the Battle of Puebla. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is Mexico's Maccabee victory, where the smaller force defeats the much larger. Isn't that fantastic? There were so many similarities throughout history. Now, I heard Arthur and Brett had a wonderful holiday, and that's great, because it's a sign that in some places people are starting to live normal lives again. Let's hope that comes to everyone everywhere sooner and not later. And I know a lot of people planning traveling again fairly soon. I also heard from several people who connected to the steps of forgiveness and to the steps of life. Now, this year has demonstrated to so many the need for something to do, someone to love, something to hope for, and something to believe in. It's a great lesson for all of us to take into the future. Now, often much of our lives can be found rooted in the past. And so past and future often do have this mix, not just in Back to the Future. We come from what were traditional structures of society that stood for a really long time and is really only now undergoing some change. Traditionally, and what certainly developed along sociological as well as spiritual patterns, were the separate roles of mother and father. Father went out to provide, mother nurtured, cared for. She was the primary educator. She took care of the home. Now, the person you were closest to, the person you learned the most from about relationships, about love, about self-esteem, about interaction, was mother, for good or for bad. Now, put in a difficult position, she tried her best, and your connection to her was different than your connection to dad or anyone else. Mom was always there for you, your protector, your defender, your redeemer. That's not to say all were the epitome of motherhood, a word which conjures up a perception, a judgment that we like to make. So whether yours was great or awful, and some were one and some the other, her effects are felt lifelong. And friends, it is her weekend. Mother, you had me, but I never had you. I wanted you. You didn't want me. So I just gotta tell you, goodbye. Goodbye. Well, it is Mother's Day this weekend, so honor, celebrate, appreciate everything that you got from Mother. We all got a lot from her. She taught us to belong to society. She taught us community, which is what allows us to continue to come together as we do as a collective consciousness of seekers. But we show faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, as a community, a chavura fellowship, expressing our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes, unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing, bringing light, keeping fear at bay. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, some physically, some digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way you want, to come gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world, my friends. It is a giant community. Remember, it is your setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. It is a part of your kavanah your intention that you put out to the universe. It is your goodwill. Let's take some time now. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, and some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Floats through space, finding those in need, so send it out. For those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love, think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Let's send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. For my friend Lucy, for Dave, for Frank, for Mary and Michael, for Anne, for Ryan, for Lori, whose daughter is pretty in tune, and of course for the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. And as we know, spirit never dies. Shabbat Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us sing. Amen. Yishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal us. He's healed before. Yishaberach, may he who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, the other night, I had the great pleasure of seeing my dear old friend Dave, a true artist, a craftsman, lover of Torah, and of the independent thought that it provokes. And he reminded me of the words of Carl Jung, who said, "The world will ask you who you are. And if you do not know, the world will tell you." Friends, know yourself and who you are, who you were, who you want to be. You decide. Do not let somebody else tell you. Do not let somebody else decide for you. That is also something else that your mother taught you. Knowing who we are also means knowing how we grow. I know I grow by looking more at the good than the bad, by feeling my feelings of concern and compassion for others, and using my strength to support them. You can discover so much more of who you are when you learn to be accepting and self-surrender to the idea that there's something higher than you. Maybe nothing more than that inner observer or witness that lives within and talks to us on an ongoing basis. Never forget, my friends, it is fear that drives us away from our true nature. It brings panic. It takes you away from your real roots, from your real home. It is fear that twists facts and causes us to jump to conclusions, to judge. Things change. They always do. For some, fear becomes the dominant aspect of life their whole lives. Now, this is especially true in this past year. And without knowing differently, for many, today's leper seems to be the one not wearing a mask, and that becomes judgment. Do not let the world tell you who you are or how to think. You're more than capable. Just as last week we took a phrase, never again, and turned it into a prayer, so there is the ability that you all have to have a prayer for everything. And there are numerous parts of Psalms. In fact, the whole of the Tanakh lends us phrases, sentences that become prayers. You can pick a sentence and practically make your own. From Psalm 51, we can find a prayer for renewal. And who does not need renewal? Hide thy face from my sins and blot out all mine iniquities. Create me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence. Take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and let a willing spirit uphold me. Now, have you ever noticed how if you throw a few thy, thou, and these into a sentence, it sounds very prayerful? Cut through the words and go to the essence, the meaning. You can do that by picking almost any sentence in the Bible that you want. So when you want, find your own thing that you want to make a prayer for and make a prayer. Well, this week, we're going to read about renewal. We've reached the end of Leviticus. You survived. It wasn't so bad, was it? We closed the manual of the priest with another two-part read. Some say hasta la vista, baby, as we read Behar and Bechukotai on the mountain and in my statutes. Feel like my soul is beginning to expand. Look into my heart, you will sort of understand. You brought me here, now you're trying to run me away. Writing on the wall, come read it, come see what it says. Thunder on the mountain, rolling like a drum. Gonna sleep over there, that's where the music comes from. Don't need any guide, already know the way. Remember this, I'm your servant both night and day. We're getting ready to move on again. We're at the foot of the mountain. This week we get one of three major lists of blessings for obedience to the covenant and punishments for naught that appear in the Bible. And all are very similar. Perhaps they grow in intensity as we hear them. But I'm not going to look at them. Instead, in these two brief readings, and they are fairly brief, there's two other things here that I want you to think about. And both are dedicated to themes of time. First is the idea of the sabbatical year. The second is the idea of the year of Jubilee. The sabbatical comes from Sabbath. We know it means cease. We hear the term all the time. People take sabbaticals from their jobs, from school, even from relationships. They take breaks, they rest, they renew. But what does it mean here? It is about protection of the land. Just as we cannot work without ceasing, so the land cannot produce endlessly without ceasing. It too needs to regenerate, to rejuvenate, to renew. Leviticus 25:3. 6 years you shall seed your field, in 6 years you shall prune your vineyard. You shall gather its produce, and in the 7th year the land shall have a Sabbath, a ceasing, a Sabbath for the Lord. You shall not seed your field, you shall not prune your vineyard, you shall not reap your harvest-free growth, and you shall not cut off your untrimmed grapes. The land shall have a year of ceasing. Now, they make this mention of free growth. Now, free growth is the ability of the land to just grow where you did not plant. You know, like when you drop seeds and flowers and other things grow, and you didn't plant them, but they grow. That happens with sunflowers all the time. Well, in this case, you have to leave it. You leave it for the widow, the orphan, the alien, those in need who always have to be taken care of. It was all worked out. How would you survive? Right? If you have to grow food every year to survive, how are you going to survive if you have a Sabbath year of the thing? Leviticus 25:19. And the land will give its fruit, and you will eat to the full, and you will live in security on it. And if you will say, what shall we eat in the 7th year? Here we won't seed, we won't gather our produce. I shall command my blessings for you in the 6th year, and it will make the produce for 3 years. The 6th year is a special year. It produces for the 6th, which would normally be, the 7th, which is the Sabbath year, and the 8th year, which is actually the first year of the next 7-year cycle. Leviticus 25:22. And you will seed the 8th year and eat from the old produce until the 9th year. You will eat the old until its produce comes. It's brilliant. Everything is taken care of. You just had to have faith. When you see the miracles of God every day, it's pretty easy to have faith. We're then told about our other time concept of the week. Leviticus 25:8. You shall count 7 Sabbaths of years. 7 years, 7 times. And the days of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be for you 49 years. And you shall pass a blasting horn in the 7th month, on the 10th of the month, on the Day of Atonement. You shall have the horn pass through all your land. Now, the horn sound marks the Jubilee. Jubilee. It's from the Hebrew word yovel. It's a synonym for ram's horn or shofar. And so it's possible that the 50th year was called Jubilee Yovel because this was when loud blasts of the ram's horn were sounded throughout the land. And when it occurs, you shall go back, each to his possession. Now, we just carried forward the word. So Yovel, which was for the sound of the horn, simply became Jubilee, and that's what we still call it. Leviticus 25:10. You shall consecrate the year that makes 50 years and proclaim liberty in the land. to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, and you shall go back each to his possession. You shall go back each to his family. And that means each goes back to his ancestral holdings, because what we're going to see ultimately is the land that they're going to is going to be divided up among the 12 tribes and among the families in the tribes. So what we're faced with here is if an Israelite has lost his ancestral land as a result of debt or calamity, he regains ownership of it in the Jubilee year. Right? You go back to your land. Land is unalienable. Individuals can suffer difficult times, but there is a divinely decreed limit to the loss. And the nation as a whole could never degenerate into a two-tiered system of the very rich and the very poor. Everybody knows in the 50th year, the return takes place. And so even if you have nothing, someone rises up to ensure that you get what was yours. It's a system designed to ensure that every man has a redeemer. Just knowing that can make the world a difference in anyone's life. Imagine what it could do for you. Now again, this is a brilliant concept. Even the purchase of land was understood to include the inevitable return to the original owners. Okay, so when you're buying land, you knew it was going back on the Jubilee to whoever the original family was. So how do transactions for land work? Leviticus 25:15. You shall buy from your fellow by the number of years after the Jubilee. He shall sell to you by the number of years of yields. Think about it. The larger the number of years, the more you're going to pay for its purchase, and the smaller the number of years, the less you shall pay for its purchase, since he's selling you the number of yields because the land goes back. You could never permanently own another's land. And God tells us why that is and whose land it actually is. Leviticus 25:23. The land shall not be sold permanently because the land is mine, because you are aliens and visitors with me. Friends, we are simply caretakers for the Lord, taking care of this beautiful land for him. How good a caretaker have you been? What kind of a job are you doing? Yes, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, my friends. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other, we share this right together, men and women equally. So let's send out love, not fear, send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you love them. Because if you don't tell them, they're not going to know. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. We set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our kavanah, our cause, our effect. Everything is linked. Now, as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate. Because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. And remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle. Just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body and expand your heart and quiet your mind, because your deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. So make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform lives around you because you're never alone. You're forever blessed. You have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet, health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous. Bless others and bless yourself. Love with the heart because we're part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. And be there for someone because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. We all have a Redeemer. Continue to explore faith and belief and never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, and we help each other because we are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our life, so find them. Tell them what they mean. Remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Continue to ask why and call Mom, physically, spiritually. Doesn't matter. Tell her you love her. She'll know, her spirit will know, and acknowledge all she did for you because whether you know it or not, she is your foundation for everything that you know about love. If not for you, the sky would fall, rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Practice forgiveness. Be thankful, be gracious, be kind, be loving. Believe in yourself and continue to spread a little goodwill to the world and continue to be the miracle in somebody's life. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Thanks. Bye.